Why do you forget everything within 24 hours? You studied many lessons in just one night, and then you forgot everything. Dude, let me tell you, the real reason will piss you off. I spent 2 years collecting memory techniques like they were going out of style. The 3-layer formula, the chain link method, emotion injection, reverse teaching. I had notebooks full of this stuff, and I failed my chemistry exam. Not just failed, bombed it. And here's the thing that made me want to punch a wall. I used every single technique correctly. I did the multisensory encoding. I created ridiculous stories about molecules falling in love. I reviewed at the exact spacing intervals. I even studied 2 hours before sleep, so my hippocampus could do its compression magic while I was unconscious. Perfect execution, perfect timing, total failure. That's when I realized something that nobody tells you about memory techniques. They're not broken. Your approach is. Let me be real with you for a second. Those memory hacks, the ones everyone's obsessed with, they actually work. The neuroscience is legit. Spaced repetition is real. Multisensory encoding activates more neural pathways. That's not BS. That's how your brain operates. But here's what pisses me off about how they're taught. It's all hype and no context. Unlock gigabrain mode. Memory so fast it feels like cheating. Your friends will think you're doing magic. That's not education. That's a video game trailer. And the worst part? It makes you think memory is about collecting tricks. Like if you just learn enough techniques, your brain will magically upgrade from Windows XP to NASA-level performance. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work that way. Here's what actually happened when I was sitting there at 2 a.m., staring at my failed chemistry exam. I had flashcards everywhere, color-coded notes, acronyms I'd spent hours creating, and absolutely zero understanding of what any of it meant. I'd memorized PMAT for mitosis, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. I could recite it forwards and backwards. I'd even made up a stupid story about it. Prepare, move, apart, to. Clever, right? Except I couldn't answer a single question about what actually happens during mitosis. Because I'd memorized the labels without understanding the process, I was building memory chains in complete darkness, linking together facts I didn't comprehend, creating emotional hooks for concepts I'd never actually learned. That's when it hit me. Memory techniques are tools, and tools only work when you know what you're building. You can't chain link your way to understanding. You can't emotion inject your way past confusion. You can't compress something into an acronym if you don't know what the hell it means in the first place. So let me break down what actually works, not as hacks, but as tools you use after you understand what you're trying to remember. First tool, the 3-layer memory system. This is legit neuroscience, and I use it constantly now. But I use it differently than how it's taught. Layer 1 is sense. Engaging multiple senses to create stronger neural pathways. Your brain remembers visual information way better than just text. That's not magic. That's biology. When you see something, hear something, and physically write it down, you're activating different areas of your brain simultaneously. Here's how I actually use this. After I understand a concept, and this is critical, after I understand it, I create a mental image, not because some video told me to, but because I actually see how the concept works in my head now. Example, I had to memorize how neurotransmitters work. Instead of just making up a random image, I spent time understanding the actual process first. Then the image came naturally. I pictured neurotransmitters as tiny messengers jumping across a gap, because that's literally what they do. The image wasn't a trick. It was my understanding, visualized. Layer 2 is story. And yeah, your brain is wired to remember stories better than isolated facts. That's real. But here's where everyone screws this up. They create stories for things they don't understand. I used to make up elaborate stories about chemistry reactions. The sodium atom meets the chlorine atom at a party. They fall in love. Boom, table salt. Cute story. Zero understanding of ionic bonding. Now I do it backwards. I learn how ionic bonding works. Electron transfer, opposite charges attracting, stable configuration. Then I might wrap it in a story if I need to. But the story serves the understanding, not replaces it. Layer 3 is spacing. Timed repetition to move memories from short-term to long-term storage. This is probably the most scientifically validated memory technique out there. Your brain literally needs time to consolidate memories. The spacing intervals people teach, 2 minutes, 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, those aren't random. They're based on how your hippocampus processes and transfers information. But here's the thing nobody mentions. Spacing only works if you understood the material in the first place. You can't repeat garbage at perfect intervals and expect it to turn into knowledge. I learned this the painful way. I was doing spaced repetition with my chemistry flashcards. Perfect timing. 2 minutes, 2 hours, 2 days. But I was just reinforcing my confusion over and over again. It's like hitting save on a corrupted file. The timing doesn't fix the content. Second tool, the 5-second image rule. This one's actually brilliant when you use it right. The idea is simple. If you can't visualize a concept in 5 seconds or less, your brain's gonna drop it. So you turn everything into snapshot images. Photosynthesis becomes a leaf drinking sunlight like boba tea. Market equilibrium becomes a scale fighting to stay balanced. I love this technique, but only after I understand what I'm visualizing. When I was studying photosynthesis, I didn't just make up a random leaf drinking sunlight image because it sounded cute. I learned about light absorption, chlorophyll, glucose production. Then the image made sense. The leaf isn't just drinking light, it's converting light energy into chemical energy. The image now carries meaning. Without understanding, you're just creating random pictures that your brain has no reason to keep. Third tool, chain linking. Memory champions use this to memorize thousands of digits. It's powerful as hell. The concept is simple. Instead of memorizing isolated facts, you link them together in a sequence. Heart kicks lungs, lungs throw blood, blood carries oxygen, oxygen feeds cells. It flows. Your brain loves flow. But here's my chemistry exam disaster story again. I tried to chain link chemical reactions. Sodium plus chlorine equals sodium chloride. Hydrogen plus oxygen equals water. I had this whole elaborate chain. Know what I couldn't do? Explain why those reactions happen. I'd link the equations without understanding the chemistry. Now when I chain link, I only do it after I can explain each link. If I can't explain why heart pumps to lungs, or why lungs oxygenate blood, then I'm not ready to chain them. I'm just memorizing sequences without meaning. Fourth tool, concept compression. Taking huge amounts of information and shrinking them into tiny, memorable phrases. PMAT for mitosis. Climate controls everything for geography chapters. This is actually one of my favorite tools now, but I use it as a retrieval shortcut, not a learning shortcut. The difference is huge. A retrieval shortcut helps you pull up information you already understand. A learning shortcut is trying to compress information you never learned. I create my own acronyms and phrases now, but only after I've studied the full concept. The compression becomes my personal reminder of something I actually know. Fifth tool, emotion injection. Adding emotional weight to memories so your brain marks them as priority. Making molecules argue like WWE wrestlers. Making concepts dramatic or ridiculous or scary. This works. Emotion is like steroids for memory. Your brain literally tags emotional experiences differently. But again, and I'm going to keep hammering this point, emotion can't replace understanding. You can make your chemistry molecules fight all day long. If you don't know what they're fighting about, you've just created an emotional memory of your own confusion. What I do now. I find the naturally interesting or surprising parts of what I'm learning, the parts that actually made me go, wait, what? Or, that's crazy. Then I amplify those emotions. Because real understanding creates real emotion. You don't have to manufacture drama when the concept itself is dramatic. Sixth tool, micro reviews over marathon sessions. 2-minute review cycles instead of 3-hour cram sessions. Your brain prefers pings over marathons. This is pure neuroscience. Your attention and encoding strength drop dramatically after about 25 to 30 minutes. Those long study sessions? You're mostly just sitting there, not actually learning. I do 2-minute checks now. Quick recall tests. Can I explain this concept in 2 minutes? Can I draw it? Can I teach it? If I can't, I don't need more memory techniques. I need to go back and actually learn it. Seventh tool, sleep consolidation. Studying 2 hours before bed so your brain can process everything during deep sleep cycles. Your hippocampus literally compresses and transfers memories while you're unconscious. This is real. I noticed a massive difference when I started timing my reviews before sleep, but you probably see the pattern now. It only works if you're reviewing actual understanding, not just words on a page. Your brain doesn't compress garbage into knowledge overnight. It consolidates what you actually learned. So here's what I wish someone had told me 2 years ago. before I wasted all that time collecting techniques like they were Pokemon cards. Memory techniques are legit. The neuroscience is sound. The methods work. But they're not magic. They're not cheat codes. They're not shortcuts around actual learning. They're tools that amplify understanding. And tools are useless if you don't know what you're building. Stop learning memory techniques first. Start with understanding first. When you actually comprehend something, the right memory technique will be obvious, because you'll know what you're trying to remember and why it matters. That chemistry exam I failed? I retook it 2 months later. Same material, but this time, I spent the first week just learning the concepts. No tricks, no hacks, just understanding how chemistry actually works. Then, only then, I applied memory techniques. And suddenly, they worked exactly like they're supposed to. Because I wasn't memorizing random facts anymore, I was remembering things I actually understood. Passed with a 94, not because I found better techniques, because I finally used them the right way. So here's your move. Pick one thing you're trying to memorize right now. Before you touch any memory technique, ask yourself one question. Do I actually understand this, or am I just trying to memorize words? If you don't understand it, stop. Go learn it first. Actually learn it. Then come back and use whatever memory technique fits. That's the real secret. Not 8 different hacks. Not gigabrain mode. Just understanding first, techniques second. Tools only work when you know what you're building.